Welcome to this episode of Kennedy Saves the World. It's Monday Funday, and there's been so much that has happened over the weekend. We are in the most scintillating news cycle. Anyone who keeps track of these things can even imagine. Luckily, I've got Jimmy Failla here.
Jimmy.
Because he's always keeping track of the hits.
You name it. I got the tracks right up the arm. I'm kidding. Tracks on the arm. That's not true. No needles for me. But yeah, the world's on fire. But we are back again to roast some marshmallows on the blaze. I can confirm.
Well, I'll tell you, Wall Street certainly cooled off today.
Oh, jeez.
Do you think that's because a Harris presidency is becoming so much more viable and probable that investors are freaking out because they know a progressive Democrat like that is naturally going to raise taxes and won't do anything meaningful on inflation? Therefore, you're going to have more negative growth and a real recession?
They seem to be pricing it in. That's what I do think it is. Because if you look at the job numbers last week, that's what triggered the sell-off. But more important to me, and I'm not making light of that, is the betting markets. I don't mean, I'm not saying that in jest. The betting markets have her as the favorite.
Yes.
The latest poll numbers have her as the favorite. So, yes, they're probably pricing that in. And when you get to something like the stock market tanking, people talk about the long-term effects like stocks and retirements and everything in between. But when Wall Street takes a dump like this, think of the short-term effects. Hookers and cocaine dealers are crushed right now.
Yeah,
there's no retirement for them.
They're not doing well.
I believe it was Cage the Elephant who said there ain't no rest for the wicked.
That's true.
Okay, and there ain't no breasts for the wicked because they can't afford the call girls with these prices.
There's no pregnancy tests for the wicked either because no one's humping in a down market.
The only person, the Bobby Brown song, Humping Around.
Yeah.
That's apparently was Doug Emhoff's song. That's what we learned this week in politics. RFK ran over a bear, and Doug Emhoff rear-ended his maid. And that's where we are. Good night, everybody.
RFK Jr. gets a pass because he had brain parasites.
There was that.
Doug Emhoff was sold to us as this dorky, hapless sitcom dad who's like, well, just put me wherever you want me to go. I'm the second gentleman. Like, I don't mind. Meanwhile, he's a nanny humping horn dog.
Yeah, the guy who told
You know what I call him?
What?
Raw Doug.
Raw Doug.
Yeah.
Is that going to be in the mail? It better be in the mail.
I pitched it today.
I've met him twice at the same party, 2 years in a row, took the same picture 2 years in a row. And they were trying to make him happen the way you just said it. It's like, guys can be cool. Like, take Doug.
Yeah.
He's not in this toxic masculinity stuff as he's like slipping his phone number to a girl. Doug is basically Big Ern McCracken from Kingpin. After all of this, it's like, nice to meet you. He's like, I'm in room 1118.
Yeah.
He's total hornball.
Yeah, the hot nanny in the tube top.
Yeah.
Like, honey, I think we should hire her. She speaks 4 languages.
It's all about
I can't understand one of them because she's gargling my...
and better off that, he goes, the international language. Love.
Love.
Sex. That's what she says. Simone and Ricky have been speaking the international language. Ricky!
I love that movie so much. And when I say that movie, I mean our imploding politics
now.
Yeah.
This is the dumbest time there's ever been to be alive.
It really is. I mean, you have like the 3 dumbest candidates that you could possibly imagine. I know, like, people, I love Trump, make America great again, blah, blah, blah. The markets would like Trump.
Yeah.
I do believe that. The assassination attempt helped him, 2 days later, he picked Vance. It wasn't a good pick. And we've talked about this. Like, the only entertaining character in politics right now is the couch.
Yeah.
That's it. The talking couch. It's like... It's like Cherry on Pee-wee's Playhouse.
And people are...
Couchy. It's like, don't use a black light around me. I've got things stuck in my cushions.
But it's all about first. So Kamala would be the first president of Indian and Black heritage. I believe Vance would be the first VP who's bisexual. So, good night, everybody! Good night! He puts the love in love seat, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, he does.
I spoke this weekend at Young Americans for Liberty and in karaoke. We had so much fun. So, during one of the speakers, 2 crew guys came out and took the couch off stage, and I said, they just left with JD Vance's mistress.
Good for you.
And you know who I saw there who was kind of a dick?
Who?
I didn't expect it. So this kid was walking a service dog wearing a shirt that said ATF is gay. I'm like, oh, that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
And so I took a picture of the shirt and he turned around and it was Kyle Rittenhouse.
No!
And I was like, oh, I interviewed you after your acquittal. He's like, yeah, I don't watch Fox News.
Oh,
And I
he's
was
one
like, it
of
was
them
on
now?
Fox Business. And he was like, oh, yeah, maybe it was after Tucker Show. Yeah, I don't know. And I was like, okay, Oliver Anthony, like you are about to
All these.
lose your entire base of support.
Oh,
There was
man.
no one on CNN or MSNBC that wanted anything short of the death penalty for that kid.
Yeah, the actual death penalty. But that's where, like, the right-wing influence machine is a bad compass for people. Because I think JD Vance's prominence is attributable to that. In a lot of ways, his personality mirrors what really does trend well and sound good on Twitter, but it doesn't necessarily expand the tent for the Republican Party. And he's become a bigger target than Trump in terms of like mockery, because I do believe they made up the rumor about him shagging the couch. That being said,
You got to lean into it. It
thank you.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You have to own it like Dark Brandon.
yeah.
Like you have to lean into it. That is the only way
Yeah.
you move the needle and change the story back to what you want.
Thank
Is
you.
you have to acknowledge it. You have to be self-deprecating. And, you know, it's like trot your beautiful wife out
Yeah.
in a little couch costume.
His beautiful wife, and the fact that does he wear eyeshadow? Like, we've been having this debate. He looks like he's wearing eyeliner.
Oh, eyeliner.
Yeah, I was saying that,
Guyliner, like
eyeliner.
Adam Lambert guyliner.
Yeah, he looks like he's wearing guyliner.
Very possible.
So JD Vance may not be VP, but he's going to be the new front man for Queen. This is not good. It's like the whole thing. It's such a mess.
He's going to get a Sephora campaign. That's exciting. It's a big deal.
But I do think in that regard, you're right. When it comes to crisis management, because when the Democrats pump something into the bloodstream, it's just now fact. Like, do you know how, like, it took 7 years for them to acknowledge that Trump did say, I condemn the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists in Charlottesville? It wasn't an eloquent speech, but he did condemn them.
I mean,
Okay.
Biden tried to bring it up in the debate in June.
He launched his campaign on
Yeah.
that. He's like, he didn't condemn
Like,
neo-Nazis and white
when
nationalists.
Bo died in Iraq, he
Yeah.
texted me and said, Charlottesville. And
Yeah.
then I knew.
And that's when I knew I was running.
Yeah.
But they get that accepted as fact.
Don't go anywhere. More Kennedy Saves the World right after this.
So, like, JD Vance, for all of eternity, slept with a couch in the eyes of the people on the left. They're not backing off of this. It's like the old Jim Gaffigan joke. So Gaffigan has a great joke where he goes, I'm from one of those small towns where if you do one weird thing, they never let you live it down. He goes, and to this day, whenever I go home to visit my parents for Thanksgiving, everybody's like, hey, donkey f***er. Shout out to Gaffigan, who's a huge Fox News fan.
Yeah.
But the point is, he just loves us. Can't get enough. Build a wall, he says. Every time I run into him, I'm like, I can't even tell you jokes
It's like,
anymore.
who's your favorite on Fox? He's like, who's not my
I
favorite?
don't even know where to start, you
Yeah.
guys. But I have, like you, I have really enjoyed the repurposing of Kamala. We kind of covered this on the 5 last week, which somebody was asleep at the switch because they put us back on together.
Oh,
But
that
we
was
were pretty well
that was the
behaved.
best. Yeah.
We were very well
You
behaved
walked
by
in,
our
I'm
standard.
like, yes!
I know, but we were very well behaved. But hold on, because I love that this thing is going on where they're literally pulling a Shaggy, it wasn't me.
Yeah.
On every position. No,
Yeah.
it wasn't me.
No,
Like, no,
didn't even talk about the
There's a
border.
clip of you saying defund the police.
Yeah.
It wasn't me.
No, I didn't. Please
amazing.
send money to all these people who've been arrested
It
in
wasn't me.
Minneapolis. Nope,
Yeah.
I don't even know what the word bail means.
It's so funny.
Yeah, it's like we have a border.
Yeah.
It's like you were the border czarina.
No.
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 I mean,
Not me. I said Borderline by Madonna was a great song.
great song.
And I love
I
it.
had the little gloves and the rubber bracelets.
Thank you. To this day. And it wasn't me. And it's working. And apparently Doug pulled it with the maid.
Yeah.
But it was him.
It was him. And now he's like, yeah, it was me. And but my question is, how do they spin this into, and that makes him so brave.
Well, that's what it's going to be.
Like,
It's-
isn't he incredible?
He's-
It's because they're like, okay, Hunter leaned into the whole addiction thing and wrote a book about
Yeah.
it. And everyone's like, oh my God, what,
Yeah.
like, what a wonderful person.
Yeah, I know.
Like, the finest person Joe Biden knows is his crack addicted stripper.
I love when they tell us that
pumping son.
they're like, this is about a president's love for his son. I'm like, no, this is about a foreign influence peddling operation that yielded them tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
But that's what they will do. To their credit, is they do lean in. So what they're going to say with Doug is like, this is a family that's had to face challenges and get
And
through
he
it.
did it.
Yes.
And he was honest with his ex-wife, who now loves him for it. Like, she wants him back desperately.
And think about this: the nanny got a raise because he owes her child support. But that's what they do.
So they've been tracking down the nanny.
yeah.
And they're like, well, we saw her with one kid and another kid. It's like, well, the kid that she would have had would have been a teenager. And one friend is like, yeah, she got rid of the baby. And it's like, well, what does that mean? Did she give the baby up for adoption?
Yeah, we're not getting a lot of specifics
did
here.
she
Yeah.
Did the pregnancy go to term? Did she have an abortion? Like, Kamala loves abortion. She should be like, I love abortion so much because without it, Doug and I wouldn't be together.
Oh, man. She's just the worst. And here's the point, K-Train. Nobody has any moral standing on any side of this. Any side of this. Everything they might hate Trump for, they're guilty of. You know, to Trump's credit, to Vance's credit, they're not selling some type of, moral integrity here. They're just saying these are the pillars that make our country successful and we should try to champion them. So I'll give them that. But the point is, we're like 90 some odd days out, and this is already an unwatchable show.
Yeah. And Tim Scott is married, so that's exciting.
He married an interior decorator.
He sure did.
Which I love, because if someone would have told you there was an interior decorator in that relationship, I don't know that they would have said it was the bride. But here we are, and I hope they're together forever.
Yeah. And, she brings fabrics in to redo their marital suite, and he's like, I love it.
Oh, no.
Yeah, because he's a fan of like chintz and
who isn't?
Color. Exactly right.
I'm a fashionable guy myself.
Absolutely. And Jim, the people would mistake you for the interior decorator in your relationship.
Yeah, everything I wear after 8 p.m. is a cry for help. We're trying to get there. We're trying.
All right. Well, we're soon enough we'll know Kamala's.
Here's the thing.
pick.
I don't know that Kennedy saved the world, but after this episode, I don't know that the world wants to be saved.
No.
I think the world's like, we're rooting for the meteor.
The world's like, pull my hair and pin me down. Thank you. And guess what? We'll do it. This has been Kennedy Saves the World, along with Jimmy Failla. I'm Kennedy.
Listen ad-free with a Fox News Podcast Plus subscription on Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Prime members can listen to this show ad-free on the Amazon Music app.
Oh, go ahead and leave me a review while you're there. I'd love to hear what you have to say. You've been listening to Kennedy Saves the World on the Fox News Podcast Network.